Hello, Sangha. Welcome to the Abbots Address for Friday, June 19th. A lot of really tragic news today. There's the recent shooting that's going on. There's a whole bunch of issues around racial identity. The papal encyclical on climate crisis just underscores the themes that actually came out at the Dharma Teachers Conference that we were at a couple of weeks ago now. Um, the whole business about racial tensions and discrimination and diversity and inclusiveness continues to be an upfront thing. And this business about the climate, you know. And I'm really, generally, I don't like speaking very much about contemporary events. My general view is that, the Dharma is the Dharma, and that people are smart, and that you can draw the lines and connect the dots in ways that make sense to you. And I'm very aware when a religious leader starts telling people how to vote or how to think or what sort of political ideas they should be holding or this kind of stuff. I mean, I really don't like that at all. I never have. It just feels weird to me. But it is kind of coming up in my face over and over again that these are serious, serious issues. And the question for me always gets down to a very, very personal and very intimate kind of one. How is it that I am participating in the creation of this suffering? How is this particular suffering actually occurring within myself? How is it occurring within my sphere of relationships? And then on to the wider and wider. So one of the, sort of, it would seem to be low-hanging fruit, but I think actually it's not, is the use of speech and the way that we speak and talk to each other. The Buddha in the Nikaya, in the early sutras, when he starts talking about harmony in the Sangha, what are the sources of disharmony in the Sangha? What are the sources of discord in the community? When he does an analysis of this, anger comes in, envy, feelings of distrust or a lack of transparency or honesty, vying for position, all this kind of stuff. And this is the Buddha talking to his ordained monastics, who had left the world and renounced everything and were completely dedicated to a life of disciplined asceticism, following in the path of a renunciate, I should say. They'd left the world and so on. And still, with those folks who you might think have eschewed worldly issues to pursue what their version of the Buddhist path was, still there's disharmony in the Sangha based on these same core poisons of greed, hatred, and delusion. So somehow the business about what to do with all of this has to do really with us being clear about how to be with the things in ourselves that give rise to those same feelings. So, I mean, one that I would like to hold up that seems to me to be useful to hold up is, like I mentioned a moment ago, is speech. In light of the seemingly inevitable tendency towards these kinds of divisions and splits and stuff like that, let us all be very aware that the way we speak to ourselves about ourselves is probably one of the greatest causes of harm that we can muster. The self-talk that goes on, the way that we tear ourselves down or build ourselves up, always in relationship to some other. This other person that figures in our lives as a picture of what we should have been but aren't, or the enemy, or however they present. So let's take up the practice even more seriously as a Sangha, this practice of not speaking of others' errors and faults, and this practice of not elevating the self and blaming others. the practice of not disparaging the three treasures, not speaking ill of Sangha, not speaking ill of Dharma, not speaking ill of Buddha. This is really important. I mean, it's one of the ways to destroy our internal life, the health and happiness that is in some ways our birthright. We can destroy it with negative internal comments and dialogue that loop unconsciously. And also, we can infect the life of the community, our family. Look at a family system, I mean, how easy is it to slip into unskillful speech and to live the consequences of that out for decades, in some cases. And also Sangha. So if it was true for, the Buddha's committed ascetic monastics, it's certainly true for us. So let's pay attention to our words, the way we speak of ourselves to ourselves, the way we speak of each other to each other, how we speak of the Dharma and the practice and the teachers and everything about it, and not to lie or cover over things that need to be said, but to be kind, to be loving, to be skillful, and to be very aware that the consequences of unskillful speech, boy, they go on and on. They can even go so far as to change the fate of nations. I think it's Master Dogen said somewhere, I forget which fascicle of the Shobo Genzo, but he says, a kind word can change the fate of a nation. So this is a time right now where our nation, our country in America, we need some kind speech. We need some clarity and understanding around privilege, race, diversity, and what we're doing to the planet, what seems to be happening all around us, but also our own personal Sangha. The Great Heartland Sangha itself is no different, and ourselves. So let's all take it up and take care even more than we have, me included. Now, announcements. Tomorrow we have a day, the second of 4 retreats set up for the Jakai initiates. We'll be going through a very thorough examination of the precepts, which is partly why this is so much on my mind right now. And then on Sunday we have our normal Sunday service. And then the Wednesday will be our normal 7:15. Don't forget we have our 11-step recovery group that meets Monday nights. And we'll see you all in the Zendo. Thank you, everybody.